All right, today we're diving into an absolutely wild story of personal transformation. It starts, as so many do, with a moment of total crisis. We're going to follow one man's journey that begins with a devastating betrayal, but spirals out into this incredible worldview about power, control, and the very fabric of reality.
And it all starts right here, with this one sentence, this quote. This is the moment of no return. It's when our narrator just walks away from his entire life, all based on this powerful, undeniable gut feeling. This is where the story really kicks off.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story begins inside a house where our narrator is in the middle of a tough battle with addiction. But while he's fighting his own demons, he starts getting this feeling that something else is going on, something far more sinister, orchestrated by the very people he's supposed to trust. So he asks one question. One serious, direct question about something he'd found out, and in an instant, his whole world just shatters. The way they reacted, with anger, with insults, it confirmed everything. His inner circle wasn't safe, and he had just stumbled onto a truth they desperately wanted to keep hidden.
And then, bam, this is the smoking gun. After being told he was just being paranoid, a hospital drug test proves him right. It found count 'em, three substances in his system that he knew for a fact he hadn't taken. Suddenly, his suspicions weren't just suspicions anymore. They were a terrifying reality.
So that one night, it becomes this absolute pressure cooker. He now knows for sure he's being deceived. So he makes the choice. He decides to leave, stepping out of that house and into a world that all of a sudden feels completely and utterly hostile.
And look at how quickly things fall apart. It's just one domino after another. The confrontation leads to the escape. He makes a desperate call for help to his mom, only to find out she's with the person he's running from. And the final blow? He watches her drive away, leaving him standing there, totally alone.
Can you even imagine? This is the ultimate heartbreak. The one person you think will always be in your corner isn't. His own mother chose to side with the people he was fleeing. That moment just cements it all. He has no one to rely on but himself.
So this is where things take a huge turn. This intensely personal experience of being lied to, of being controlled, it becomes a kind of lens for him. He starts seeing his own tragedy, not as some random, isolated event, but as a small-scale reflection, like a fractal, of a much bigger deception happening on a planetary level.
And this is where he stumbles onto a framework that starts to make a weird kind of sense of it all, ancient astronaut theory. He gets really focused on the story of the Anunnaki, these beings that, according to ancient Sumerian texts, came down to Earth from the heavens a long, long time ago.
Now, according to this theory, our whole creation story is basically a lie. The Anunnaki didn't create us to be divine or free. Nope. They supposedly showed up here to mine gold, but the work was too hard. So what did they do? They genetically engineered our ancestors to be a slave race to do the digging for them. And they deliberately capped our consciousness to keep us in line. And for him, this was the key that unlocked everything. That feeling of being trapped he felt in his personal life, he started to see it as just a symptom of what he calls a modern bureaucratic matrix. A whole system of debt and control that he believes is built right on top of that ancient blueprint of enslavement.
But here's the thing. If the problem is ancient, he figured the solution must be ancient too. So he goes on this quest, right? He starts digging into and assembling this arsenal of metaphysical tools, ancient technologies designed to help someone reclaim their spiritual freedom.
And we're not talking about your everyday tools here. He explored things like crystal technology for healing, sacred geometry as a kind of universal law that overrides human laws, and these concepts he calls light codes and resonance. To him, these are technologies that work on a whole different level, way outside the system's ability to tax or control them.
And during this search, he finds his ultimate hero, his North Star, Nikola Tesla. He sees Tesla as this sovereign genius whose dream of free wireless energy for everyone was crushed by a system that makes money from control, not from true freedom. It was a perfect mirror of his own story of betrayal. Okay, so all of this searching, all this connecting the dots, it leads him to his most profound breakthrough yet. It's a complete reimagining of power itself, and it all starts with a single word and the insane pressure he was feeling from the world. He asks himself this fundamental question, and it's a question for all of us, really. How do you take all that crushing weight,
the betrayal, the control, the addiction, and flip it. How do you turn it from something that destroys you into a source of creative energy?
And this is just brilliant. He literally takes the word that describes his pain, tension, and he breaks it apart. It's no longer just this negative state of stress you want to get away from. He reframes it as tens ion, like a source of electrical charge, a power source that's created by opposition, something you can harness, not run from.
He does the same thing with the idea of grit, that whole just push through it mentality. He throws that out and replaces it with nitty, as in the nitty-gritty. His new foundation isn't about being stubborn, it's about embracing the raw, messy, honest-to-God truth of his experience. That was the real source of his strength.
So he's gone through the fire, right? He's journeyed through hell and come out the other side, having learned how to turn all that pressure into power. And what's the last stage of the hero's journey? You return with the elixir. His final mission is to share what he's learned with the world.
His plan is to create this 1-hour radio show called The 10th Power Resonance. But get this, he doesn't see it as just a show. He calls it a ritual transmission, a living scroll. The whole point isn't just to talk, it's to actually broadcast a frequency that can activate that same sense of sovereignty in anyone who's listening.
And this last quote, man, this really sums up his entire mission. The ultimate goal of his broadcast isn't to teach you something new, it's to trigger something he believes is already encoded inside of all of us. The idea is that you won't just be hearing information, you'll be remembering a fundamental truth about who you really are.